All right, everybody. We were talking about some ratchet wrenches the other night when I did my Snap-on review, and these are the Matco wrenches that I was talking about in general. Uh, when I bought these, Snap-on did not make a ratchet wrench at the time. Uh, Gear wrench was just coming out, and not very many people on the market were making ratchet wrenches yet for patent reasons or whatever. Um, so when I had the opportunity to buy these, because these were a long pattern, Matco was the only one that were offering them at the time, and then Mac, and then years later, Snap-on came out with them. They did have the Blue Point line, but they were awful. They were clearance-wise up here. They just had so much, you know, material. You know, if you had to get in a tight area, you just couldn't. They were just awful. And I believe they're still like that. Never been impressed with the Blue Point line of them at all. The Snap-on ones, I bought the first generation. I'm not very impressed with those as well because, like I said, getting into a tight area, they brag about it now because they revamped them. On the backside, they have a plate on it with peened over bolts that they can't come apart, and it's a lot narrower access along the top here on their newer ones. But I have their first generation ones that kind of look like these, and there's a lot of material on the top, and they do not ratchet as smooth as these. I shouldn't say that. I think they ratchet smoother, to be honest. I have a couple that don't. They tend to hang up pretty easy, and it's mostly in the smaller sizes. But these are my Matco ones, and I absolutely love these wrenches. They're the most comfortable wrenches that I've ever used. These were actually made by Armstrong. And then later, I don't know who picked them up, but it's an import company. It's not a Gear Wrench or anything like that, but it's actually some kind of import company. I believe someone did a review on them and tracked them down and figured out who made them over in Taiwan, but they're not Gear Wrench, and I've had problems with them, with the newer ones, that is. Um, Here's my 8mm, and it ratchets nice. Lever flips nice. I've never been impressed with smaller sizes because they just don't have the clearance around them. I used to have a 7mm and they stopped making 7mm. I used to use it on a lot of 3-1s to take the map sensor off when I did the intakes. I now have a gear wrench that I use that for, and then I used a Tecton the other day for removing that as well. Here's my 10mm. This is one that I have a problem with. This is a newer one. It has the spline in it, which I absolutely hate. There's a lot more material up top here. They kind of beefed them up a little bit, and they just don't have the clearance that they used to. This one won't ratchet that way. Ratchets okay that way. Don't have a Matco dealer. I don't have enough Matco stuff to mail it in to justify the shipping. So here they set. This is 11mm. This is the one that actually is made by Armstrong. These ratchets so smooth. I just been so impressed with these. Levers are kind of stiff on them, but I mean they were very easy and recessed. They're not like exposed out along the edge there, sticking up or anything. Just always love these things. They did have a type of flare or a flank drive, a little grip edge on there. That's the 11, and that one is an Armstrong. This one right here is a 13 Matco, and this one is a spline drive. This is one that I had warranted, and they just don't work the same. It just, the back drag on it and everything is just not the same. I just don't know how to explain it. You see that they have the Matco emblem on here inside the handle where they don't on the other ones. Here's a 12mm. This, I believe, is the same thing. This is another spline one. This one ratchets okay. Just not overly impressed with the newer ones. Here's my 14. And again, this one's been replaced. This is another spline one. And you see how loud and obnoxious it is. Kind of hangs up. And just the quality isn't there. When Armstrong was making them, it was just unbelievable how smooth these were. Like I said, they were the only ones that really offered them on the market in a long pattern like this until Snap-on, 3-4 years later started making theirs, Like I said, there's really nothing compared to these guys. And I used these for years. I absolutely love these wrenches. I wish I could get a set that functioned like the first set that I bought. This one is actually an Armstrong one. You see it's 12 point. Totally different sound as far as ratcheting. Lever's different. It actually still says Matco on that one. So I probably warranty this one at one time or another, but this is probably when Armstrong owned the company. You can see they're probably a little soft on the metal because it's flared on the end a little bit on a few of them. But just a phenomenal wrench. I use these a lot. Like I said before, Snap-on even offered them. I've had these for a long time, probably the early 2000s. Beginning of 2000 probably I bought these. This is another one that got kind of damaged on the end. I were leveraging something. I wouldn't say that they're the stills got the hardest, I don't know what you would call that, but the hardness of this isn't probably compared to Snap-on or anything like that. This is a little bit softer. This is another 12 point. And this is probably one of the original ones. You see that there is no Matco on here. And you can just hear how much easier that turns, just smoother. Problem is they're not as long, Even the length ain't right. I got a 15 that's longer than a 16. So it just very aggravating, the quality control when you go to warranty these things. And this is what you get, a whole bunch of mixed match crap, This is another original one. Very smooth compared to all the other ones. That one's stuck. It's probably stuck because I haven't used it in forever. It does have flank drive in it, and you see some sharp edges on it. Obviously where I've leveraged it on something, get it out. There's a 17. This is another original one because you don't see the Matco on it. So this is going to be an Armstrong one. And these are the ones that seem to work the best. Whoever the company is making them, since Armstrong was bought out by the Apex Group or whatever, they're just garbage. And here is a 19. Every one of these got a little spot on them where I've leveraged them and left marks on them somehow. Like I said, I don't believe these are rock scale hardness on these. I don't believe is as hard as most wrenches. But the quality was there. I mean, I've had these wrenches, like I said, since the beginning of 2000. This is another original Armstrong wrench. So, very impressed with these wrenches. Made in the USA. So, I mean, that'll tell you something right there. That's definitely an Armstrong. I'm sure if we go back to one of our spline ones, I don't see made in USA no more. So, I mean, that tells you something right there. It just blows my mind. Made in the USA. Like I said, this is one of our original ones. So this is definitely an Armstrong one. And the quality has just been great. But I figured I'd share that with you guys. Those are my Matco wrenches. ratcheting wrenches. This is probably the first set of gear wrenches that I bought. But if you have any questions, let me know below. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. And if I can answer any questions for you, I'd be more than glad to. Thank you and have a good night.